What if the weakness people accept in their legs after 60 isn't actually normal aging at all? What if the slow loss of strength, balance, and confidence so many seniors experience is not caused by age, but by something missing for decades? And what if the people still walking steadily at 90, or even 94 aren't lucky outliers, but living proof of a hidden pattern most Americans were never taught to notice? The clues have been there all along, showing up quietly in lab results, national surveys, and real lives, but the full picture was never put together in one place. Until now, for much of the 20th century, aging science focused on bones and joints. Muscle decline was treated as unavoidable. But that assumption began to crack when researchers studying mobility loss noticed something strange. In large U.S. datasets like Haynes and the Health and Retirement Study, leg weakness did not rise evenly with age. Instead, it followed a pattern. Some adults lost strength rapidly after 65. Others stayed strong well into their 80s and 90s. Same country. Same access to healthcare. Very different outcomes. The difference wasn't exercise alone. It was nutritional history, especially vitamins that quietly shaped muscle, nerve, and bone health over a lifetime. The story begins much earlier than most people think, back in early adulthood. In their 20s and 30s, Americans often feel invincible. According to CDC nutrition surveys, fewer than 40% of adults under 35 meet recommended micronutrient intake from food. Deficiencies don't cause pain at that age, so they go unnoticed. But this is where the first cause and effect chain begins. Vitamins like D, B12, magnesium-related nutrients, and antioxidants help build neuromuscular connections and bone scaffolding early in life. When levels run low for years, the body compensates, but at a cost. Muscle fibers become less efficient, nerve signaling weakens slightly. The damage is invisible, but it accumulates. Then the 40s arrive, and the changes start quietly. This is the decade when absorption efficiency drops. Research from the National Institute on Aging shows that by midlife, the stomach produces less acid, reducing absorption of key vitamins, especially B12. At the same time, vitamin D levels decline as people spend more time indoors. According to NHANES data, over 60% of Americans over 40 low in vitamin D. Nothing dramatic happens yet. Walking still feels normal, stairs are manageable. But inside the muscles, mitochondria begin producing energy less efficiently. Balance reflexes slow. The foundation of leg strength begins to thin. After 65, the shift becomes impossible to ignore, but most people still do. Sarcopenia, the loss of muscle mass, accelerates to about 1 to 2% per year. Nerve conduction slows. Calcium regulation changes. The body's ability to repair muscle after daily use weakens. Yet many seniors are told this is just getting older. What rarely gets emphasized is that vitamin status at this stage strongly predicts mobility outcomes. Studies in the Journal of Gerontology show that seniors with adequate levels of certain vitamins walk faster, fall less often, and maintain independence longer even when they don't exercise intensely. The nutrients don't replace movement, but they decide how well movement works. The breaking point usually appears suddenly. A fall, difficulty rising from a chair, a cane becomes necessary. According to U.S. injury data, nearly 1 in 4 adults over 65 falls each year, and leg weakness is a leading contributor. This is when the problem becomes visible, not because it started then, but because the body's reserve is finally gone. At this stage, doctors often focus on physical therapy alone. But research shows that without addressing underlying nutrient deficiencies, recovery is slower and strength gains are limited. The fallout spreads quickly, health-wise. Reduced leg strength increases fall risk, fractures, and hospital stays. Financially, mobility loss leads to higher medical costs and, for many, assisted living earlier than expected. Lifestyle shrinks. Social outings decrease. Confidence erodes. Yet across millions of seniors, another pattern repeats. Those with stronger legs at 80 and 90 often share a common thread: long-term sufficiency in 6 essential vitamins that support muscle, nerve, and bone function together, not separately. So, what are these vitamins? The full explanation matters more than the names alone, but here's the framework. Vitamin D supports muscle contraction and balance signaling, not just bones. Vitamin B12 maintains nerve communication between brain and legs. Vitamin B6 plays a role in muscle metabolism and coordination. Vitamin C supports collagen in connective tissue, which stabilizes joints. Vitamin E protects muscle cells from oxidative damage that increases with age. And vitamin K works quietly with calcium to keep bones strong without stiffening arteries. Together, they form a system. Missing one weakens the entire chain. But many seniors try failed fixes based on old advice. They focus only on calcium, or they assume supplements alone will reverse years of decline. Some overdo one vitamin and ignore others. Others stop moving altogether, thinking rest protects weak legs. Evidence shows these approaches backfire. Mobility requires both movement and nutritional support. One without the other doesn't work. So, what can you do today if you're over 60? First, review your nutrition with attention to absorption, not just intake. Aging bodies need forms of vitamins they can actually use, especially B12 and D. Second, pair gentle leg movement like daily walking or chair rises with consistent nutritional support. Studies show this combination produces far better strength retention than either alone. Third, get periodic blood work through your healthcare provider to identify silent deficiencies before they turn into visible weakness. Here's the warning, grounded in evidence. Don't self-dose high levels of vitamins without guidance. Excessive intake of certain vitamins can interfere with medications or create imbalances that worsen weakness instead of fixing it. And here's the open thought to carry into the next video. If leg strength at 94 is shaped by choices made decades earlier, what other parts of aging might still be quietly under your control? If you want the next chapter where we explore how seniors rebuild strength safely even after loss, subscribe and turn on notifications. The story doesn't end here.